My friends, what a day I have had. It has not been a good day. I had a deer hit my car, busted my windshield. I'll show you that here in a second, but I'm out camping anyway, out in a beautiful place, and we're gonna enjoy just a weekend of hot tenting. I'm out solo right now, but then tomorrow, my good friend Jay is coming down with his tent as well. We're gonna spend tomorrow and Sunday together and just try to make the most of what has been an absolute junk show. I've been dealing with some personal issues, some things that I've been kind of stressed about, and then to get hit by a deer, shatter my windshield. At least I can still like drive, and so I decided to still come out anyway. But let me show you this. This is not how I wanted to necessarily start this video, but here we are. There you go. That is the damage on my poor little Jeep. But like I said, we're gonna make the most of it this weekend and just enjoy being out in this absolutely stunningly beautiful place and put some testing to work on the Nortent Vern 2 as we're out doing some hot tenting. But you know what? I was tired of the snow and I needed some desert time. And that's what's happening. So let's get the tent set up. Let's get that going and just enjoy the most of what the weekend offers, and we'll deal with life situations on another day. All right, so this is the Nortent Vern 2, a 2-person size, kind of all-season or 4-season tent that also has an optional stove jack for you to add to it, which I wanted to do because I do enjoy hot tenting, but it's nice when you can just kind of do it from the car. So taking this thing's like pretty heavy. We're like in the 8-pound range, and so backpacking with this is not really the most like solid option. You could do it for a short time or even pull it in a pulk sled. So there is that option, but this is a really good spot that I've got here and a cool tent. So we'll get this thing kind of set up. I'm gonna go more or less this direction here. I'm gonna have the stove right there, and it'll make for a great little setup. All right, so we got the tent set up here. I am actually trying something new for this trip, and we're gonna sleep on a cot with a Hest foamy bed on top of that to be just as comfortable as I possibly can be. So this is a nature hike cot that I'm pretty excited about. This is the first time getting out with it. And I set it up at home once, and it's pretty cush. So I'm excited about it that way. It goes up pretty quick, and it only sits a few inches off of the ground. So it's gonna get me off of the cold ground, elevate me a little bit. So with the stove running and everything, I'll be up a bit more into the warm space of the tent. Ooh. I think it'll just be nice. Go. Nice. Ooh. All right, let's roll this puppy out. This is the Hest Foamy that is just spectacular for these car camping kind of situations. You don't even have to blow anything up. Just roll it out. And it's got, oh baby, that is some serious height. But it's got an R value of 8.8, I think, or 8.4, something over 8. And oh man, that's gonna be so cush and enjoyable. Comfort and warmth was the name of the game for this whole weekend, and just making things as enjoyable as I possibly can make it. It's a palace for a king. Look at that. Ah, I am so stoked. So stoked about that. It's gonna be just excellent. Man, I hope you guys enjoy these just like hang out with Devin out camping kind of videos. Just super casual, just enjoying myself, and I'm the only person out here. Normally this place would be totally ransacked with people, but it's not. And I love that. That's the benefit of coming out camping in January, but I want to show you this sunset. This is unreal. It's just spectacular. But look how cool this tent is too. Just a bomber looking shelter. So right here is where the stove is going to go, and I need to make the decision of whether or not I roll the footprint back, which I think I will, because even though I've got a like fireproof mat for the stove to go on, I don't want to take the chance of melting or overheating the footprint at all. But that's the Vern 2 from Nortent. Just a really neat shelter. So let's get the stove set up, and then we'll just kind of be ready to go for the evening, and I can make some dinner a little later here. It's about 5:30 at this point, so let's do that. So the stove that I've got is one that you guys have probably seen before, but it's the super teeny tiny, like backpacker size titanium folding stove from Winterwell. And I think it's the perfect size for this little tent. It's not a little tent, little space. It doesn't have a huge amount of height, so it's going to, like, I think, really fill this space with heat really well and be very comfortable that way, as opposed to being in like a big teepee type of tent that's going to be a lot taller, and because of that, all of the heat just goes that far up. But because this is only like, I don't know, 100 centimeters tall or something like that, it isn't going to be a bunch of wasted heat up above the sleeping area. So that should be nice. And it's supposed to get down into the teens tonight. It's supposed to be fairly cold. So even though I said I was like trying to get out of the cold, I came right down to the cold. But I'm not backpacking, and I'm not in a bunch of snow, which is what I was looking for, and just makes things a little bit more comfortable in that regard. So I'm looking forward to it. And this stove just, like, it goes together so fast. And the benefit of me not backpacking and doing a hot tent trip is I already have all my wood pre-cut. So I am totally squared away on that front, which is really nice. But you see how fast that went together. So that should be pretty nice in there. The rings. Oh, come on. Got to be careful because I'm not wearing gloves. I don't want to slice my hand open on the edge of that titanium. I think I feel pretty good about that. I'll tell you what, it sure is a beautiful evening. Stars are coming out. There's no wind. It's just really calm and very quiet. I've got my propane fire pit here. I'm just trying to like make this as comfortable, as enjoyable as possible. I'm about to go get some dinner going. I've got some Packet Gourmet ostentatious tortilla soup, I think is what I'm gonna make. I'm not super hungry, but I obviously gotta eat dinner. So, man, 6:15. It'll be perfect timing to then get in the tent, get a fire going, just hang out, enjoy it. But this is stellar. Just really a nice night. I'm happy, even though it's not the greatest like getting down here. I need to stop talking about it and stop worrying about it. It is what it is. It just sucks. I hate it when stuff like that happens, but make the most of it. It's not too bad. You know, sometimes this is just the way to go about a winter camping trip. The backpacking is so fun, so enjoyable to be out in the snow and have that like experience, but to be able to bring a propane fire pit, nice light, good chair. All right, let's try the soup. Just don't want to burn my face off. It's like one of my least favorite things about any kind of freeze-dried meals. Like, just you're hungry and then you take your first bite and you burn the inside of your mouth, burn your tongue, and then everything else is not good and not enjoyable. So I try to be careful with that. Oh, that's delicious. That is tasty. Really good flavor, good texture. Just tastes like a nice Tex-Mex kind of soup. A little bit of crunch from the tortilla chips. Fantastic. All right, I got a good little piece of fat wood here. Let me see if I can't just take some of these little pieces of like 2x4 that I got cut up and create a little bit of a space for those to sit on. Yeah, let's give that a try. Also, I cut myself. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty nice to just be up off of the ground here a little bit. I've still got plenty of like headspace. I'm not like super hunched over and like uncomfortable. So that's great. And it's also quite wide. And the fact that I've got two different doors, like two openings, is really cool. And I do like also that this tent, instead of like sleeping lengthwise down the tent, you're like through the center of it, so it's plenty wide in that case, and then it gives that huge vestibule space for the wood stove here, and then I have all of this vestibule space behind me on this door that's back here. So I'm really honestly quite impressed with just the amount of space in here, and this foamy sleeping pad. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. So really comfortable space in here right now, and just getting this fire going. It is a little awkward with like the way that the stove is right here. I wonder if I can turn it just a touch more. I just want to be careful with it not being too close to the bathtub floor of the tent, but I don't know. It's not terrible. Like, I'd be able to lay here in bed, open the door, feed wood into the stove without having to really do anything. So maybe I just leave it how it is and kind of go from there. But yeah, this is turning out to be pretty cozy. I'm enjoying this. Tell you what, that is one hot stove. Did find something that I wasn't a big fan of with the vent down here is there's no way to really close it off. And so we just had all this air, like cold air blowing in that was basically defeating the whole like stove. So I went out and actually put a piece of wood over it to like close it off so it will shut. So there's like no zippers or anything on that vent, but you still have the ability to vent and whatnot right here. So I can open this up and still create good air movement. I've got the vent open on that side. So there is the ability to like still get air movement and such. And I can also very easily reach up and get those zippers, but yeah, the air was just coming through that vent pretty good, and it was making it like the stove was running, but there was no like real warm air in here. So that is something to know about the tent that I would change. So with that, I'm actually gonna sit and watch a movie because it's 8:30, and just use that as a way to wind down and hang out and just enjoy the cozy. When I last looked at my thermometer, we were in the like 50-degree range. I would say at this point, with that vent closed now, it's probably 60, 65 degrees in here, at least up at this level. So it's nice and toasty and just super comfortable. But anyway, we'll see you in the morning. My friends, good morning. It was a just fantastic night of sleep, and it got so unbelievably warm in the tent. It was like almost 90 degrees inside of the tent at one point, but this thing is cool. I'm really pleased with how well that performed. But Jay has arrived this morning, left super early to get down here, which was really nice, but he's getting set up, and we're just gonna enjoy a nice afternoon, a whole day and night together. What am I saying? Jay himself is working with a new tent, the Pomali, what'd you call it? The locomotive. Not a tent I'm familiar with, but it's a tunnel style tent. We'll check out the space for that here in a minute, but let him get all set up here. It's a beautiful morning. Time to get some breakfast going though. I'm gonna try something new. We're gonna do the Pack Gourmet skillet biscuits and sausage gravy. This has not ever really felt like a super conducive backpacking meal, just because you do need to have a skillet, but then also like, I don't know, it's a bit more involved. So I haven't wanted to do it out on a backpacking trip, but we're gonna give these a go. I got some water going here. It's just a little bit windy and need to get organized here for a second and kind of gravy. All right, trying to do too many things at once this morning, but finally trying the biscuits and gravy here. That was one of the more difficult meals in a bag that I've made. But you know what? That's got pretty nice flavor to it. Pretty salty. Ooh, on the gravy, but it's not bad. That's pretty good. I don't know, however, that I would necessarily backpack with this. That's pretty messy. A lot to manage without having like a good surface and space to work on. So, well, I'll tell you what, it's been a wonderful afternoon, and just catching up, hanging out together, just enjoying each other's company. And that's an important thing. Just come out and I don't know, have some guy time. So that's what's been happening. But the wind is like really picked up, and I'll tell you what, it is cold, cold, cold. The wind chill, I don't know, probably in the teens. I'd have to check my thermometer and see what we're at. But I mean, it's a beautiful place. And we have all the means necessary to be as comfortable as we possibly can be. I mean, it was nearly 90 degrees in my tent last night. So that's the least of the concern, but it's just still too early in the day to go light a fire and hang out in the tent for all that time. So don't really want to do that. But we'll get some dinner going here in just a little bit and hang out, and hopefully the winds kind of die down a touch and we can get the propane fire pit going and just enjoy a nice evening. Stars should be stunning tonight. That is, if we can get out and enjoy it and it's not too cold. So we'll get dinner going here in a few minutes and just kind of enjoy the rest of the evening. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. That wind is just so cold. It's probably, I don't know, 15, 16 degrees with the wind. It's like 25 degrees Fahrenheit. The sun's just gone down, but it's time to make some dinner. So this whole trip, just going simple. So we're doing the Pinnacle jambalaya with blackened chicken, Cajun sausage, rice, and bell peppers. This is their newest meal, and it is so good. It's so good. So I'm also using the Fire Maple G2 pot. This is the 750 milliliter heat exchanger pot. This is actually the first time using this one. So I brought it to start getting some time with it. Let's see. Booyah. A little fire pit going, which, man, that just like changes the mood and everything so much. The hard thing with like propane fire pits though is the wind just like sucks so much heat from it, so it's hard to like get a ton of heat, but it does make a difference when that's blowing on you. How was it, Jay?
Good. It's great.
Good stuff. All right, well, I'm gonna get my dinner going, and then I'm just gonna enjoy the evening. It's gonna get dark, make it hard to film. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. It's good to just have this time to hang out with Jay and catch up and everything. And I think we'll see you in the tent when we get the fire going, the stove going and such. But until then, beautiful night. Stars are going to be fantastic. It'll just be a great evening. So enjoy my dinner. Get you in the tent here in a few minutes. All right, we're in the tent, getting the fire going here. It is so windy. It is so cold. It's just not the conditions that I thought it was going to be. That was like kind of a brutal couple of hours just trying to enjoy hanging out. But finally, Jay and I were just like, we're going in the tents, getting a fire going in the stoves and just get out of the wind. I will say that this tent is, I'm just so impressed with how stable it is in these gusty winds. It's not like the craziest wind that I've ever been in, but we're probably like 15, 20 mile an hour gusts. And to have a stove also in here, like that's potentially dangerous. And so you have to be careful with what that looks like and everything. So I've got like the spark arrestor at the top of the stove, which makes it so that you can take lines out to stake it down, and it makes it really, really stable. So I'm like happy with that and everything. But yeah, the tent is impressive. This has been one of the most enjoyable tents that I've ever used, especially from a hot tent setting. So I like the space, I like how stable it is, and it's just a very comfortable place to be. So I'm impressed. Well, I was just getting the stove all stoked up, even though like packing up and such, but it's gonna help dry things out with any condensation that I've gotten here, and get my sleeping bag dried out as well. It's just a nice little way to, I don't know, warm up as well before you get out of the tent. So it's a benefit of the hot tent, but it obviously is more work and all that, but I enjoy it. It's nice. It's like 20 degrees outside right now, and it's probably 50 in the tent. So I'm not gonna complain about that. Dry things out and have a warm place to come and get packed up. I like it. Well, Jay, how was your night?
It's fantastic. Slept pretty good, actually, pretty warm. It got super cold though, but yeah, it was a full moon, so you could see it like you had night vision on.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Jay's got a nice smoke going on over here with his tent. We had pretty nasty wind last night. These tunnel style tents, they just do well. Between that over there and this guy, we enjoyed a nice night. Now I know hot tents seem like the cool craze and like the fad that everybody should be doing, and if you are interested in winter camping in that way, then yeah, it's a definite like awesome way to experience winter camping. But do know that it is a ton of work to keep a fire built, to keep it running, and all the work that's involved. It's a commitment. We'll just say that, but it is definitely nice. So. Yeah, this tent almost feels like a little bunker, but geez, just that stove running for that 15-20 minutes made all the difference in just really warming up and drying out. That's excellent. And I'm not kidding, that was one of the most comfortable beds I've ever slept on a camping trip. You wouldn't think that like a cot would make that much difference in the experience, but there is something about like being up off of the ground just a little bit and not pushing against the hard ground, having a little bit more like flexibility and movement on your back. I feel like that made a big difference. So I'm like really quite happy with the Nature Hike cot. I'm gonna use it a lot more now. I like it. Well, friends, that was a fantastic weekend to just be out in the desert, kind of get out of the snow. There's snow on the ground, but not be up in the like cold mountains. But it did get pretty cold last night, down to 15, I think it was. which was a nice, I don't know, just good to be out and testing the gear and putting it through the paces and all of that. And we're just kind of managing this fire pit over here right now. Gonna dump some water on it. But Jay, thank you, sir.
A lot of fun.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Hope you enjoyed seeing a bunch of new gear and stuff as well. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.